This is question number 33 from the August 2017 Algebra Regents exam. So Loretta and her family go on vacation. We know their destination is 610 miles from home, and both Loretta and her dad are going to take time driving. So Loretta's average speed is 55 miles per hour, and dad's average speed, is 65 miles per hour. It says the plan is for Loretta to drive for the first 4 hours and her dad to drive the remainder. So we need to find the number of hours it'll take her family to reach their destination. So I just drew these little colored blocks to try to visualize. So we know Loretta's the pink driving time and dad's the green. So we know Loretta drives 55 miles per hour and she's going to drive for 4 hours. So to find out how far Loretta's going to drive, we're going to multiply those two numbers together, right? So 55 miles per hour for 4 hours means that she would drive a total of 220 miles. And so now that we know that, we can take their total distance, which is 610 miles, subtract the 220, and then we'll get how many miles the dad has to drive, which is 390. Okay, so we know the dad has to drive 390 miles. We also know that his driving speed is 65 miles per hour. So to find out how much time that's going to take, remember speed equals distance over time, which means time is distance over speed, right? So we're going to take the distance, we're going to divide it by the speed, which is 65, and then we'll figure out that his driving time would take 6 hours. We know that Loretta is driving for 4 hours. That was given us in the question. So 4 hours plus 6 hours means in total it'll take them 10 hours to get there. 10 hours total. Okay, moving on to part 2. So this time Loretta is going to drive for only 2 hours before they switch. So similarly, we're going to take her speed, which is 55 miles per hour. This time we'll multiply it by 2 hours instead of 4 to get that she would be driving for 110 miles. And then similarly, we're going to take the whole distance, 610, subtract 110 to find out how far the dad has to drive. That would end up being 500 miles. Okay, and then, well, this is actually a very similar situation. So we're going to do the exact same thing we did above. We're going to take the 500 miles, divide it by his driving speed to figure out the amount of time it's going to take him to drive his distance. That would get to about, okay, so the nearest tenth of an hour would be 7.7 hours. We know that Loretta drove for 2, so combined, 2 plus 7.7 would be 9.7 hours. And then the question is, how much time will they save compared to the previous situation? So we would take the 10 hours, subtract 9.7, and we would get 0.3 hours saved. Now, we could convert that into minutes, although it actually doesn't tell you to. It does want it to the nearest tenth of an hour. So that is the correct way to show the solution. All right, and that's all for this video. Thanks for visiting JD's Regents Preparation.